Hey guys, welcome back to another Genshin weapon comparison video. Today we'll be looking at some weapon options for Hu Tao. We have the Deathmatch R1, the Lithic Spear R2, Dragon's Bane R2, and the White Tassel R5. I'll be showing you a few DPS tests against the Cryo Regisvine and a Ruin Guard. Before we begin, I would like to ask you guys a small favor. Currently 99% of my viewers aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel, and I would really appreciate it if you all can help me out by simply subscribing and supporting a small Genshin content creator. I'll be posting Genshin guides and other content for you to the best I can. Thank you. Alright then, let's jump right into the video. Let's look at a brief overview of my Hu Tao stats. I'm currently level 80. Here are my artifacts. My Hu Tao is C2, and my talents are a 666. Here are the individual stats for each weapon. Please keep a few things in mind. I leveled every weapon to just level 70. Also, most of these weapons give you crit rate, so I chose specific artifacts so that this can be a somewhat fair test for the Dragon's Bane, which you get the most benefit from when you have a good enough crit rate to use. Around 70% and up is the most optimal in my opinion. This resulted in the Deathmatch having too much crit rate, so if we did balance the stats by adding more crit damage, I could see the Deathmatch performing even better from these tests. Also keep in mind, most damage tests and calculations are done for Dragon's Bane and Lithic Spear usually at Refinement 3. They benefit the most from refinements, so you may see some lower numbers, but I'll explain refinements at the end of the video. The last thing to add is that there is Pyro Resonance during this test with Hu Tao and Klee, and we are using 3 total leeway members for the Lithic Spear. I did my best to standardize Hu Tao's attack patterns to create some realistic tests. Here are the 5 tests I came up with against the Cryo Regisvine. Test number 1, 2 auto attack cycles followed by 1 charge attack followed by 1 blood blossom. Test number 2, 2 auto attack vaporized cycles with Xingqiu. Test number 3, 3 vaporized charge attacks with Xingqiu followed by 1 vaporized blood blossom. Test number 4, 1 elemental burst. Test number 5, 1 vaporized elemental burst. In this test, the White Tassel has the upper hand with its normal attack damage increase passive. Deathmatch and Lithic Spear were always close, and the Dragon's Bane suffers without any vaporized reactions. For this test, Dragon's Bane was supposed to perform better with Vaporize, but its lack of crit rate held it back in many trials. Although the White Tassel did great again, it was only slightly ahead. The Dragon's Bane either did an insane amount of damage or missed its crits. I'm surprised the White Tassel didn't fall behind too much since there is no charge attack passive increase, and the Lithic Spear did great on this test. Just 1 elemental burst. Look at the damage numbers here since the health bar isn't accurate since I used Xingqiu's elemental skill to apply Hydro. Next up is a damage test against a Ruin Guard. I will be showing you numbers for each attack in an Excel sheet instead of side-by-side comparisons, since it is not an actual DPS test. And real quick, I changed back to my original artifacts to this test to add more crit damage and a little less crit rate. Also, here are my original 2 artifacts I was using before the Cryo Regisvine test. Okay, first let me explain a few things. I only used numbers that were critical hits since I could barely get any non-crits with the Deathmatch. For the Lithic Spear, I also tried testing with a 4 leeway member party for fun. Dragon's Bane isn't very relevant in this test because I did not test vaporized numbers, but I added its values anyway. Surprisingly, it did a good amount of damage, but very inconsistent crits. Now here are all the values. I recorded all the auto attacks with a sum total here, and in the last row I added the sum of 2 charge attacks, 2 blood blossoms, and an elemental burst since this is a common rotation in a Hu Tao DPS window. If we're speaking strictly in terms of the current refinements on these weapons, the Deathmatch by far was the most consistent in damage, even though it wasn't the strongest. However, once the Lithic Spear and Dragon's Bane gains more refinement, the Deathmatch will have some trouble catching up to them. The Lithic Spear had the most balanced damage. At further refinements, it will be a more reliable weapon than the Deathmatch, especially at R5 because of more consistent critical hits. It's mostly held back from its passive that requires leeway characters. As mentioned before, the White Tassel excels in normal attacks, but its charge attack Blood Blossom and Elemental Burst do much less damage, especially at higher levels and talents. Also, if the Lithic Spear and Dragon's Bane gain more refinement, it falls behind even further. Even with its shortcomings, it's still a great weapon, and I was very surprised how well it performed in general. Dragon's Bane mainly shines from vaporized reactions with Xingqiu, so this is not a fair test for it. Also, you can see that the numbers are pretty decent here, but there were many times I could not get critical hits like the other weapons. DPS wise, Dragon's Bane won't be able to keep up unless you have at least 60 to 70% crit rate, with 70% and up being ideal in my opinion. One thing that did confuse me is that Dragon's Bane always does more Blood Blossom damage, even during the Cryo Regisvine test, so I'm not sure exactly what the damage formula is for it, but it might be worth keeping note of. The Deathmatch is a very consistent weapon and will help you build your Hu Tao more easily, with its crit rate secondary stat. More refinements with it is not ideal though, since attack percent doesn't do much for Hu Tao, and you would have to purchase multiple battle passes. If you already have this weapon, feel free to use it. If you have a Lithic Spear at least Refinement 3 and your party has at least 3 to 4 leeway members, I don't think you need to go out of your way to get the Deathmatch. I was very impressed with this weapon. Even at Refinement 2 it was performing very well, and I was only lacking crit rate for it to really shine. At more refinements and better artifacts, this shouldn't be a problem. The main con to this weapon is that it dictates your party's members and synergy, so it limits your options. Also, when more characters come out from different regions, this may not be a long-term weapon. Still, if you are running a team with Xingqiu and someone like Zhongli, feel free to use this weapon, especially at Refinement 3 and up. If you want a more consistent weapon with less limitations, the Deathmatch is the way to go if you can comfortably acquire one. Dragon's Bane has the most potential to do the most damage out of all the 4-star weapons. It benefits the most from refinements compared to the other weapons because of the overall damage bonus increase. The Elemental Mastery secondary stat is also amazing for Hu Tao since she doesn't benefit much from attack percent. The downsides are that you can't do vaporized reactions on some enemies, and you need your Hu Tao to be built properly with crit rate for this weapon to shine. I would recommend at least 60% crit rate and up. Also, you need to run this weapon with Xingqiu for it to be the most optimal unless you're using this weapon for one-shot boss flex showcases. If you have this weapon at Refinement 3 and up, and you have a good amount of crit rate, feel free to use this weapon. It will carry you in the current Spire Abyss. I'm the most impressed with the White Tassel. Its normal attacks do a great amount of damage thanks to its passive, but it will eventually fall off late game since your Elemental Burst, Blood Blossoms, and charge attacks will suffer. If your playstyle mainly consists of just using auto attacks, this might be the weapon for you. Finally, if you have no other weapon choice and you want to summon Hu Tao, the White Tassel is always there for you. And it's an easy weapon to acquire, but I highly advise that you only use it at Refinement 5 unless you have no other option. Finally, I know many people will ask this question, the Blackcliff or Deathmatch? It's unfortunate I do not have the Blackcliff, but I will say this, if you already have one of them, there really is no need to get the other. With all 3 stacks from the Blackcliff, it may outdamage the Deathmatch slightly, but the Deathmatch overall is the more consistent weapon since it doesn't rely heavily on conditions like the Blackcliff. Also, it currently depends on your current artifacts and how you want to build your Hu Tao by going more crit rate or crit damage. Personally, I would go with the Deathmatch and build more crit damage, and I wouldn't have to rely on the Blackcliff's passive. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you all can find a suitable weapon for Hu Tao and for yourself. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more Genshin guides and tips like this. Also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/FrenchTutor_. I'll be streaming almost every day if I'm not making videos. Take care now.